walk you through what that 10 years is and what happened between the two milestones that we're in and what we're doing now, why we have to do it, and how it's going to help the UIC to be even better than it is today. So welcome to all of you who are watching from whichever platform you're on, Facebook, YouTube, wherever you are. Of course, you know, my name is Joseph Patterson. It's on screen. I've been the president of the UIC since, let's call it 2012, but that's kind of strange because 2012 is when the idea kind of first got mentioned, written down, and I'm going to tell you about it in a bit. But first, let me welcome every member of the team that's here. I'm still missing a very, very important team member. I don't see her yet. Very, very important team member I'm looking for. Oh, there she is. Mrs. Patterson, give me a smile. No? Thank you very much. Much appreciated. You know, I can't do this without you, right? There's no way for me to do this without you. She's my right hand, my heart, my rock, everything that makes me able to exist and to do anything that I've done in the last, I was going to say 29 years there, but it's longer than that because you've been propping me up since high school. So it's been a while. So anyways, let me
39, not 29.
39, okay. It's 29 of marriage though, right? It's 29 marriage and 39 high school and stuff. We won't tell them what we did in high school. We won't let them into any of our little secrets that we did in high school. I won't tell them about the first time I kissed you in the grade 9 classroom or anything like that. Yeah, I won't talk about that. So, all right, where was I? Oh yes, I was going to introduce the members of the team. And you know, when you're nervous, by the way, you do crazy things, right? You can laugh, you can cry, maybe you can have your words twisted up. So if you hear me getting any of the things wrong today, it's because I am nervous, I am anxious, I am scared to death, I am a whole bunch of nerves. I don't know, you know, it's a lot of things that's going on in my mind right now, but we'll play them out today. And the good thing is I feel like I'm among friends. What I like about the UIC is that we call ourselves Uniteds, which means we are united. And the purpose that unites us is very important. It's for us to create one Jamaica, united, strong, and free. And that's why we say one Jamaica stronger together. So, my friends, thank you for joining us tonight. Let me begin by introducing our chairman. Where is she? There she is. Dr. Coretta B. Johnson. Could you please bless us, Ms. Johnson, by a few words of welcome and encouragement?
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Glad you're here to share in this process, as trying and maybe shocking to some as it may be. Processes of transition are never usually easy, but I'd like to say one Jamaica, stronger together. And our president is not going anywhere. So he's still here with us in the flesh and the spirit. So thank you, welcome. I'm Dr. Johnson, your chairman.
That's a good point, Dr. Coretta Brown Johnson, that I'm still here in the spirit and in the flesh. That's a good thing. Let me welcome also our First Lady and General Secretary, outgoing, Mrs. CHARLET MESSADO-PATTERSON, my partner of the last 29 years officially and over 39 unofficially. Madam, could you please address the audience? Thank you.
Hi, good evening and welcome everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you. It's not the most joyful occasion, but I think it's still a happy occasion because it gives us an opportunity to sit here together, to talk, to share, to be honest. And I just want to say, as Dr. Coretta mentioned, we're still here in the flesh. We're not going away forever, and we will still be, you know, I was going to say an arm length away, but I don't think really, but we're here. We're here. And I just want to thank you for all that you have done over the years that we have been communicating with each other. Some we haven't even met in person yet. but we have spoken over the phone, and it still felt like a family. So I just want to thank you for that, for your donations, and more so for the love and care and warmth that you have shown to all of us. We've had rough times, but the good times always prevail. And it is with this hope that even though we are leaving this particular post, we hope and we wish that you will continue to support UIC, to be there, help our NEC team to be stronger together in every sense of the word. Thank you so much, and much love to you all.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Madam General Secretary, First Lady, my wife. Much appreciated. Like to hear now from the former treasurer and now deputy treasurer, because I don't see the treasurer on the platform. Correct me if I'm wrong, Madam Chair. Do you see the treasurer on the platform? Miss Abdul, Lisa Abdul?
No, I don't see
All
her as of yet.
So, Madam Deputy Treasurer, the floor is now yours. The youngest member of the team. You're muted though. You might want to open your mic, even though it's not showing you muted on this side, but we can't hear you. Say something again. Try again. Still not hearing you. All right, we'll come back to you. See if we can fix that as quickly as possible. Thanks much. Now we'll go to our VP for Cornwall, and later on you'll hear something else. Mr. Winston Wright, go ahead, sir. Unmute.
Thank you, Mr. President, my President. Good night, Madam First Lady, my fellow NEC members. Good night to our members, our supporters, our donors especially. Thank you for being here with us tonight. And since we have started, persons are saying it is not a joyous occasion, but in some cultures, when change is coming, you're expected to greet it with a smile and celebrate. It's putting on an optimistic face. It is facing the challenge with optimism, with confidence, and with fervor. So I choose to smile tonight, Mr. President, because I know you have prepared us well, and we will face the changes to come with the same humility that you have, with the same open mind that you have shown us, and most importantly, with the courage, or even if it's just a fraction of it, that you have. Thank you everyone for joining us. We'll have a fulsome discussion, and we will move on reassured and blessed. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Wright, much appreciated. And our VP for the County of Middlesex, Mr. Chase Neal, your turn, sir.
Hello, everyone. Good night, good morning, good afternoon. Greetings to you wherever you are in the world. Welcome to this live. I would like to point out that our outgoing president has always been encouraging us to own the UIC as ours and to realize that the UIC is not his party, but our party. Now we will have to do just that. So as we move forward stronger together. And I invite everyone, encourage everyone to realize in the flesh, in our actions and our commitment, the idea that the UIC is ours, and through our action, our commitment, we will rescue Jamaica from over 80 years of colonialism and corruption. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Neal, VP for the County of Middlesex. And now we'll hear from the Vice President for the County of Surrey, Madame Jasmine Powell. Please go ahead.
Yes, a pleasant greetings to everyone on all platforms. Tonight is a very special night, a very significant night, and I am here to say that, you know, it's really, really, really a pleasure being a part of this noble movement. And I have so much respect for the members, the president, the first lady. And this just to show the caliber of person that the president is. And the UIC, as the other members had said, the UIC is you and the UIC is me, is us. And we will be stronger together. Nothing changes. And we will be here doing what we are supposed to do, because the module that was created, and we believe wholeheartedly in this module, and we will not let the country down, and we will not let our outgoing president down, because he has tried his best. And we are forever grateful. Those are my words.
Thank you very much, Madam Jasmine Powell, VP for the County of Surrey. I'm looking for Ms. Janet Chukanowski. Just to briefly say, Ms. Chukanowski is our longest serving member of the NEC, or the board of the UIC, the National Executive Council. She has been with us, I believe, from 2017. So she's the longest beside Mrs. Patterson and myself, who has been here from eternity. So welcome, Ms. Chukanowski, your thoughts.
Thank you, Mr. Patterson, Mr. President. Thank you so much. And welcome to everyone, those who are online, those who are here on the Zoom. I'm so glad that you're able to come and hear the message that Mr. President has to give to us today. And I am so grateful that I call this divine connection when I found the UIC group on Facebook. And I learned so much, as many of you have, about good governance and what government should be doing in a country. I have such a high level of respect for the Pattersons, and just learning from Mr. Patterson especially. And the model that he has left for us is, to me, a wake-up call that he has been saying all this time, that this is the people's party. It's not his party. It's the people's party. So now we have to step up to the plate, and all the hard work that he has put in, would love to see the fruit of his labor with us all working together. So we're not going anywhere. We're here to carry on the vision and the mission. He has passed on the baton to us, and now it's up to us to do the rest of the work. He's led us a long time, and now it's our turn to show him that, yes, we learned from you, and we're going to do everything that you have taught us. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Janet Chukanowski, Director, one of the directors for the UIC's Board of Directors. We call it the National Executive Council. So let me begin now to get into the meat of the matter by, first of all, thanking all of you who have partnered with my wife and me over the last 10 years of this incredible journey as we try to unite, liberate, and empower the people of Jamaica via the United Independence Congress of Jamaica. Charlotte and I took it upon ourselves to create this movement to help the independent thinkers among us to come together, to join hands in an effort to rescue Jamaica from what is now 80 years of bad governance under the same two colonial parties and the PSOJ oligarchy that funds them, controls them, directs them, together with the foreign masters who masterminded the very system. Please mute your mic for me. Who masterminded the very system of modern day slavery that we're suffering. That system, they have worked to perfection. They have maintained it, and they're entrenching it. And it's up to us whether or not we're going to sit by and allow them to continue with it. When we chose to enter the political fray, we knew without a shadow of a doubt that the PSOJ oligarchs have control over the two parties, the two colonial parties, and also over the economy, the banking sector, and mainstream media, and that they would stop at nothing to prevent us from liberating the people of Jamaica. Yet we persevered. From the first day of January 3rd, 2012, when I created the UIC Facebook page, I went back and checked it today and checked the date. I was shocked. I thought it was December, but it was January. We created the first Facebook page that's still there today that's called United Independence Congress of Jamaica. From that day until now, well, at least to last Friday, September 22nd, which marked the 2-year anniversary of my arrest for standing up for right to freedom of speech, freedom of choice, freedom of movement, and freedom of association. From that day until now, we have been working very hard to create for our people this avenue out of modern day bondage. In 2013 and 2014, we worked very hard to build support in one of the diaspora segment, Canada, where we had lived for many years. Our first fundraiser was actually held at the home of Janice Collins in Ajax, Ontario, with the help of Craig Mackenzie from Pickering, Ontario, who served as our first General Secretary and Treasurer, respectively. We then officially launched the UIC on December 31st, 2015, on our farm right here in St. Elizabeth, with over 100 mostly local attendees from my Northeast St. Elizabeth constituency. I remember us driving around and shaking hands and meeting people and inviting them out. And about 100 persons showed up and have some jerk chicken and some drink and listen to me chat and so on. Interestingly enough, back then, all of our board members failed to show up, which is amazing. But Charlotte and I stood alone with 2 personal friends who were visiting from Canada. Apparently, our team members became afraid of political victimization, which is quite real in this country. It's a bit subtle now, but it's quite real. And things can happen to you. And so people get afraid. But nevertheless, Mrs. Patterson and I were among those rare breed who tend not to be afraid of just about anything. We just face life as it is and live to the best of our ability. The following year, in February 2016, I ran as an unsuccessful independent candidate to gain valuable experience and to fully formulate the UIC's manifesto and organizational structure. Out of this effort came some new interest in the movement that allowed us to expand the Officer Corps and register as a nonprofit organization with the Companies Office of Jamaica. At that time, there were no well-defined rules for political parties. It just kind of exists and have different structures and different regulations that you're following. So we registered as a nonprofit at the Companies Office back then. In 2017, and since then, we have been denied a bank account. So after our registration, we tried to open a bank account. They took us through a long ringer, a long stretch of all kinds of requirements and so on. The requirements changed every few months, and we languished out there waiting and never got a bank account. So from 2017 until now, we have been denied a bank account in the name of UIC by almost every major commercial bank here in Jamaica, due to our inability to do what no other political party has ever been required to do: verify with certainty where every donor gets their money from. That was the standard. We must verify with certainty where anybody who donates to us money, where did they get that money from? An impossible task. I asked them, do you require the other parties to do this? They couldn't give us an answer. However, I'm very pleased to announce that we're finally at a position where it appears we're going to be granted an account at NCB tomorrow, September 26, 2023, according to Vice President Chase Neal, Vice President Winston Wright, and Deputy Treasurer Naika Williams, who were tasked with getting it done over the last year. And believe me, we had to really do a lot of follow-up here. The UIC will therefore cease using the accounts that were donated by Mrs. Patterson and me. All UIC funds will now be transferred to an account in UIC's name with the same 3 independent signing officers. That's Mr. Neal, Mr. Wright, and Ms. Williams. And we'll continue to apply the same stringent rules that we now apply for internal controls. We will continue to have our books audited annually by our independent auditor, which then reports through the statutory process to the ECJ, which regulates political parties in Jamaica. So we continue to be a very stellar performer in the area of fiscal management for the organization. You might recall how the ECJ tried to stop us from becoming Jamaica's third registered political party, which we became on December 2nd, 2019, after nearly a year of pushback from them. We prevailed by getting over 1,300 signatories in our 2018 door-to-door campaign. You should have seen it. And by applying public pressure on the clearly biased Electoral Commission that is stacked with persons from the two colonial parties. They have excluded us from the ECJ, so we're not sitting on the board, even though all of our books and records are subject to them. We don't get to have the same reciprocating rights over their books and records, but they see ours. So we're being stringently monitored, but we don't get to do the same for them. We're also excluded from the Debates Commission, and we're obviously excluded generally from the media. In fact, I'm now getting calls from the media because I'm leaving. They now want to talk to me now that I'm leaving. Anyways, the most effective stumbling block placed on us as we work our way through this 10-year process is the media blockade. They have done everything to keep us out of sight and out of mind by simply ignoring us, while pushing a daily news cycle filled with the PSOJ parties. I call them the PSOJ parties because they're owned and controlled by them, really. They even go so far as to call up defunct, unregistered political groups for comments while ignoring the nation's official third registered party. So this is real. They're committed to silencing the UIC, and we must not let this happen. But that has not stopped us from building our own solutions. We created the UIC Liberty TV on YouTube, and we also had a number of social media platforms that we try to use to reach Jamaicans home and abroad. Yet these channels too are often covertly shadow banned in an effort to limit our visibility. So you as an onlooker may not be aware, may not even see all of this unless you really go and pay attention. But there's a very, very powerful hidden hand which is trying to make sure that the people of Jamaica knows little or nothing about the UIC. And for the most part, they have succeeded as much as we try. This media blockade strategy has made it more and more difficult for us, but also it has given the two colonial parties the opportunity to steal our ideas and our talking points and bring them to the Jamaican people first. Yeah, so that by the time we get to them, the people think, oh, but we hear that already. So this serves to water down the effectiveness of our message if and when we get it to the people. Yet even if they steal our plans, they will never implement them because they're only there for the political gains, not for the gains of the Jamaican people. So if we give them another 80 years in Parliament, they will still not implement the good governance measures and the policies that the UIC has talked about. You've seen our policies on land reparation. They will never give the Jamaican people back their land. You've seen our policy on education. They'll never liberate our education system so that our students learn what they need to learn to compete in the real world and overcome the wage slavery that they're in. They'll never fix the housing system so that we have a 98% home ownership rate in Jamaica. They'll never change the monetary system so that they stop stealing our purchasing power through artificial inflation. So all of these things they'll never do, even though they might mention aspects of our plans that sounds good, they'll never implement them. So in my over 300 presentations on UIC Liberty TV and other platforms, I have shown clearly that Jamaica is actually controlled by the PSOJ oligarchs who fund and control the two controlled oppositions they have led us to think of as alternatives. They're not alternatives. Voting for one or the other will never result in any real change in Jamaica's development. They and their foreign masters will do anything to silence us, anything to slow us down, anything to frustrate us, anything to stop us outright. But we have pushed on against all the odds. Even in the face of much ridicule and unreasonable expectations from those who have no idea what it takes to build a political movement without becoming a puppet of the PSOJ oligarchs, we have still continued to push forward. And we will never allow any special interest groups to take over this movement, this Congress, this party. However, in politics, more than any other field, you will always find an abundance of those who are ignorant, arrogant, and power hungry. Yes, these combined with infiltrators from outside led to a coup attempt in the early part of 2022, which caused me to resign then, but the membership rose up and said no, and I retracted my resignation. Yet the plot to remove me and to kill the movement has never ended, and it will not end. It's either we succeed or they succeed, but they're going to continuously plan and plot to destroy the only movement which understands what kind of governance change we need, what kind of economic model we need, and how we must go about developing our people, mind, body, and personality. There's no other party with such a message, no other party that understands where Jamaica needs to go and what we need to do to get there. My arrest on September 22nd, 2021, and the 2 years that Mrs. Patterson and I have spent going to court almost monthly has only multiplied the many challenges we face in trying to build and hold this movement together. Last Wednesday in court, it was revealed that the Prime Minister is about to get his way, to get his wish, to extend the case into 2024 and possibly beyond, in order to avoid the Supreme Court giving a ruling in favor of myself prior to the elections. He has always been very subtle, very slick, and it seems as if it's going to prevail here as well. And so we won't get a ruling before the elections, so I'll still be in court during the elections, and the UIC will still not benefit from having won our case in court against the Prime Minister and the government for violating the rights of the Jamaican people. The strategy is clear, and it is destructive, and it is costly to us in so many ways, but such is the price of freedom, my friends. As expected, the journey has not been easy. It has not been easy. But after 10 years of sacrificing our family and our health and our finances, the time has come for me and my wife to pass the baton to other members on the team to carry us on the next leg of this long road to freedom. On September 19, 2023, I advised the NEC, our National Executive Council, that I, along with Mrs. Patterson, have decided to retire from public life immediately. This means we'll no longer be available to serve as president, officer, or candidate. But rest assured, we will remain loyal members, donors, or supporters of the movement for as long as the UIC remains faithful and true to its original vision, mission, and values. And if required, we will not hesitate to serve as advisors to the leadership and candidates whenever and wherever possible. This has been a most difficult and painful decision for Charlotte and me, but we leave proud of the work that we have done together with you to give the people of Jamaica the greatest opportunity since Marcus Garvey to chart a new and better course for our country. I want to thank you all from the bottom of our hearts for joining hands with us, for donating, for volunteering your time, your talents, and your treasure to help us rescue Jamaica. I may be the founder of the UIC, but you are the key to its success as the last hope for Jamaica. Unless you rise up, unless we all rise up, unless we all dip into our pockets and into our time and into our talent pool and contribute that to this movement, we will never be able to rescue Jamaica. It cannot be done on a wish or a hope or a prayer. It must be all of that, plus real, tangible, daily, active, sacrificial contributions. Please remember that the UIC is more than me or you. It is me and you. It is our party, the People's Party, the Education Party. The UIC is the only way for us to escape the fake freedom, the fake democracy, and the fake independence of the colonial masters, their two colonial parties, and the PSOJ oligarchs that funds them. The UIC is the only way to stop them from misleading us, tricking us, and trapping us in a fake republic. The UIC is the only way to make Jamaica the world's first ever true republic that fully protects our individual and collective sovereignty while providing us a safe, clean, and orderly society. One where we can all live, earn, and retire with dignity. I pray you will continue to join hands and hearts with us in this movement because we are indeed stronger together. They cannot stop us if we come together and stick together because we are stronger together. We may no longer be President and First Lady, but we will forever be your fellow uniters. Stay strong and remember, one Jamaica, stronger together. Thank you very much. And now we'll open the floor for questions and comments. The first question, I see Mr. Delton. Please go ahead, sir, or comment. And I'm going to ask Naika if you could take a look on the other social media pages and just give us any particular questions, comments from there. Go ahead, Mr. Delton.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. President, and to members uniters. Mr. President, you mentioned that the media is now trying to get in touch with you now that you've stepped down.
CP nigger.
I'm about to come.
Naika, yeah, get that off.
How to turn your balls into a belt. Your balls.
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Delton.
Well, it's clearly evident
You've been thugged by
what forces are at work. And yeah, my question is, will you be accepting any invitation from the media now that they've approached you?
I will try to accept as many as possible, but I can't commit to accepting all of them, but I will try.
Okay. Oh, well, it'd be interesting to hear whenever that happens. Hopefully it will be live, not recorded, because I don't trust them to block out, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Substance information and stuff like that. But once again, Mr. President, I just want to reiterate that I'm saddened by the fact that you're stepping down, but I fully understand your reasons for doing so. And I wish you and Mrs. Patterson all the best in terms of health and finance. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Delton. Next, Mr. Keith Romans. Uncle Keith, go ahead, please. He's frozen. Mr. Romans? You're not hearing you. Go ahead for me. Try again. Okay, next person.
Yes.
Oh, go ahead,
Yes,
Mr. Romans.
you need to see if I'm being muted from that side. Yeah. Can you
We
hear me
can
now?
hear you. Yes, we can.
Hello? Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Can you? Okay. Uh, just as Mr. Delton had earlier, we do understand. We do understand. It has been a journey. And even though I joined later on, I have seen it all. I've seen a lot. And I respect your decision. I know you'll get the impression that this was not about you. Because for some reason, there are many people who used to figure this is about Joseph Patterson and he's wanting to pay for his benefit. But now you're understanding that this is not about you. This is about a vision that you have had for our country, and you have sown that seed that is now going to perpetuate for many, 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 many years to come. And it is going to be our responsibility, not only locally, but in the diaspora, because you have opened our eyes as diasporans. And I got connected to you because I was listening to an African lady who has actually caused a wave in the African community right now. Dr. Arikana, she was she was African Congress ambassador to the United States. And she was there for a little time till they kicked her out because she was seeing too much. And now she's now the head of the African diaspora movement, which is causing a wave in Africa, which if you guys follow what is happening in Africa, is like a revolution there. But this is the same thing that's going to happen to Jamaica. And as those things happen to Africa, it will happen to Jamaica, because these are the same people who perpetuate colonialism there that perpetuate colonialism back home in Jamaica. And they're the same one riding high for over 400 years. And it's going to come to an end. It is going to come to an end. I mean, I'm telling you, because it's going to have that ripple effect to the Caribbean too, because the people in the Caribbean will see this. And he was carrying the same message that you carry, Mr. Patterson, where we need to get the diaspora involved and we need to fix our home so that we can have a good foundation. And as a member of the diaspora, I'm just very moved by your decision to plant that seed. And I know you will be there, and this is going to be carried on by many Jamaicans, because many people know it's going to catch fire. No. And as he had said, when they interview you, you can tell them that the seed is there and it's for the people of Jamaica to take it to the next level. Because there's nothing wrong in uniting all Jamaicans at home and abroad and do away with tribalism, do away with segregation, do away with separatism, and perpetuating individual sovereignty and personal accountability, which is what the UIC stands for. The sovereign person and
accountable.
For accountability.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Romans.
But I just want to wish you guys all the best, and we'll be following. All right.
Thank you so much, Mr. Romans. I just see a message here, or a question or comment here on YouTube. A person is asking, how do we survive when all of our executive members live overseas? We only have one executive member who is overseas. The deputy treasurer is in Jamaica. The 3 vice presidents are in Jamaica. The chairman is in Jamaica. So we only have one person on the board that is not living in Jamaica, just to clarify that for you, Ms. Donnery King. Okay. All right. So who else wants to speak? Anyone else on the Zoom platform here wishes to speak? Raise your hand, please, if you have a question or a comment you'd like to make. Let's take some comments from the YouTube or other social media platform, Ms. Williams, or questions. Or any other member of the NEC, if you're seeing questions, just raise your hand and ask it for someone so we can take those questions. Help me out, team. If you're seeing any questions on any of the platforms, just come on and help us with those.
I'm not seeing any questions on my screen, Mr. President, but I'm seeing a comment.
What's the comment?
It said, you are doing well. You're doing so well, partisans. Now Jamaica has no hope. The party was growing strong. And if I may, Mr. President, yes, the UIC was and is growing stronger. And I particularly love, and the members of the NEC will know my vehicle is branded the UIC logo on the front and on the passenger side. And I love the fact that people will recognize it and come up to me and ask questions about the UIC. And it happens throughout the island where I travel. So we have gotten to that point where the UIC is being recognized for its contribution to the political discourse. But to say that there is no hope is a mentality that the executive will not adopt, and we encourage the broader membership and support base not to adopt that mindset. The president has chosen not to be active in the movement. He has not chosen to disband the movement, which he could have done. He has not chosen to abandon the movement, which he could have done, but rather transition to different leadership. And while doing so, supporting new leadership to bring new life to the movement and to continue the plans, the growth, and most importantly, to continue to spread the vision and the mission of the UIC. So your UIC still remains here. But what does this mean, the president's departure? It means that my fellow NEC members will now need to be more active. My fellow Jamaicans will now need to take the message to heart that we need to own our political movement. When we look at the last general election, we see the big banks, for example, contributed massively to the two colonial parties, hundreds of billions of dollars, to be exact. And from that, we were faced with almost 2 years of new customer fee, new regulations, new customer guidelines, new KYC principles, and a whole lot of other shady dealings that is happening up until this day. There are still people complaining that their deposits were taken without explanation. And this is because the banks have lobbied both governments with their special interest money and now seek to extract from us equivalent, if not greater value. So what do you need? You need a government that will be your consumer advocate. You need a government that will do what benefits you and not big business. And that is your reason to support the UIC. That is your reason for your neighbors, your children, and everyone you know to be encouraged to support the UIC. Because we have to now understand that over the colonial past into this fake era of freedom, the 80 years of colonial control, we have always been led by big businesses who sponsor our government, and us, the working class, continue to have a deteriorating standard of living and continue to see our spending power diminished and our responsiveness from not only private interest, not only commercial interest, but from the government dwindle. It is now time to reassert people's power. Join the UIC, contribute to the UIC, support the UIC, and it will continue to grow while our president sit back and watch his work, his sweat, his tears, his sacrifice save Jamaica as intended.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wright. There are a few questions coming in on the YouTube channel as well. If you can help me with this, members of the NEC, just please raise your hand and chime in. Miss Marlene, go ahead, please.
Good afternoon or good evening, everyone. Something just sort of went over my head some, Mr. Patterson, when you said because the current Prime Minister is trying to like stretch the court date out. So did you say because as a president, if you are charged with whatever crime they've considered that to be, your the protest that the group did, did you say that you would not be allowed, or the president, which would be a crime, they consider it a crime, did you say that it would prevent you from being the president if they find you guilty, so to speak? Is that what you said? Could you repeat that for me, please? I just want to get that in there.
So where we are now in court, the Supreme Court needs to meet and make a decision based on our filing. If they make a decision in our favor, of course, which finds the Prime Minister culpable, then that ruling will obviously negatively affect the government and, of course, give tremendous support to the UIC. So if they can delay that ruling as much as possible to sometime in the future after the election, then they benefit from the fact that the people of Jamaica would not have known the answer until afterwards when they get another 5-year term. So the goal from day one has been to push this out as far as possible, to not have a decision, a ruling before the next election. We thought our lawyer did push back and brought them from 2024 into 2023, where the Chief Justice agreed to have the case be mentioned in 2023 and see if we can have it resolved in 2023. They have now pushed it to 2024, where they had it in the first place when we pushed back. And so it seems as if the strategy is working. The longer they keep us in court is the more they keep us occupied otherwise, and the more stress and tension they add to our lives. I can't travel freely around the world because obviously I can't be too far from being here. Most of you who know me before know I travel a lot. Prior to COVID, I've been all over the place in different countries. Since COVID, I've been here in Jamaica, 99.9% of the time. I've only done a few trips outside, and I can't go too far too long because I'm on bail, right? I'm out on bail. So, so they've pretty much locked up the president of the UIC in their legal system while pushing us beyond the next election date. So I'm just getting out of the presidency and making sure that whoever the president is not locked up in any court case like this, and can go about the business of the UIC fully, and I can focus on freeing myself and fixing other challenges in my life because of the amount of time and energy I'm spending on UIC matters. All right, Ms. Janet Czerkanowski, you're next.
Thank you, sir.
It's a question from Diamond, Commissioner Diamond. I'm hoping that number one is already answered. The reason for your unexpected resignation is number one, and then what is the way forward?
Okay, so let's be clear to everyone now that the NEC has met and we have elected an interim president, Mr. Winston Wright. You just heard him speak earlier on. Mr. Wright, wave your hand again so everybody can see you. So Mr. Winston Wright has been elected based on our constitution by the National Executive Council on an interim basis until our next election is due in March of 2024. So between now and March of 2024, you'll get to see Mr. Wright in action. And in March 2024, you will probably have Mr. Wright and one or more other persons running for the presidency, and we'll have a chance to elect any one of those persons. Our constitution is very clear and very clean and fully accounts for anything like this happening. And so we're transitioning very smoothly, very effectively, and we'll have no problems whatsoever, except for, if somebody decides to be a troublemaker. We've had a few of those in the past. So somebody might try to lie to you, mislead you, deceive you, and create all kind of mayhem. But outside of that, the process will work very smoothly if people are ethical and follow protocol. Next question.
This one is from YouTube. Someone wants to know, is there a replacement in your constituency?
Right now, no, there's no replacement as of yet. We continue to struggle with people feeling confident about coming forward in representational politics. It's nothing to do with the UIC. It has to do with Jamaica, with the kind of fake democracy that we have, where people know about the level of victimization that they will suffer from even their employers who are a part of the PSOJ oligarchy, who will make life miserable for persons who decide to stand for office outside of the two colonial parties. If you're one or the other, suddenly it's okay. If you're running for the UIC, then it's more problematic, right? You just start to put up all kinds of roadblocks in your way and issues. But the brave ones, like Mr. Wright and Mr. Neal and Dr. Coretta and others who are standing firmly and running for office, will inspire many more Jamaicans to do the same. Next question.
One more question or a comment from YouTube. Someone is suggesting that you do not take any interviews unless they're live, because they may try to twist your words.
Absolutely. That is one of the tricks in the books. They will take your video, splice it up, and make you look like a madman on screen. So we have to be careful. We'll try our best to manage that as best as possible. But thanks for saying it. You have reminded us of how careful we need to be when taking interviews. Next question or comment?
Here that says, where will the office now be located?
That's a very good question. So come Friday, all of the documents and records that are currently at the office, so we have the office here in Bogue, in my constituency, all of the materials, all records, all documentation that are here will be given to the new president and the treasurer or deputy treasurer, and then they will find new office accommodations for them. Any other questions?
Yeah, I wanted to ask a question, Mr. Patterson. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Loud and clear.
I have a quick suggestion. Maybe in your interview that you'll be doing, I would suggest that you do it together with the acting president, so that you both can make it clear to them, and then you could be a very smooth transition so people can see, because a lot of people are going to be watching now. You know that, right?
Absolutely.
So, and following. So I figure it's a wise idea to do that. Plus, that will also create a condition where there shouldn't be any room for misunderstanding, because you know what I mean, because you're doing it with the and I want to ask you a real quick question. This seemed to be kind of sudden. Was there anything in particular that triggered this sudden decision?
No. You ever hear the story about the straw that breaks the camel's back? So you might just have one small straw, but the camel's back has been getting a lot of weight over the 10-year period. So there's no one thing that I can point to. When I say that it has to do with health, family, and finances, I mean just that. Our health has been taking a big hit. It takes a lot of work, and I'm a health freak. I really care about managing my health. My wife and I, we have been health freaks for a long time. We believe in eating right, exercising, fresh air and sunshine, air and rest. All the 8 doctors we talk about, plus the 9th one, which Mrs. Patterson and I know about. So health is a big thing for us, and we have really been gradually losing that grip on our health, and that's very concerning to us and our family. I have neglected my family a lot for the UIC, or Mrs. Patterson too. I mean, she used to be such a great mom to our kids, and we have just pulled her away and all of that. So it's been too much. And then our finances, we have lost, so it's unimaginable the amount that we have lost. Yeah, it's just unimaginable. You would not believe it. When I tell people $15 million as the base number, the last time we had some detractors, they said, "Oh, just show us what it is and we'll pay it." You know, they had this kind of very, really poor response to things. They don't understand what it takes to do what we do. And so, yes, we now have to spend some time repairing the breach in all of those areas. Next question. Or comments? Ms. Powell, are you seeing anything on your end, Ms. Williams? I'm seeing a lot here. I just can't read it because they're going so fast.
Mr. Patterson, I believe at one point, Ms. Besley wanted to say something. She couldn't find the raise hand button. I'm not sure if she still wants to make the comment.
Go ahead, Ms. Besley. Just unmute your mic and go ahead.
Okay, so the mic is unmuted. What else do I need to do?
That's it. You're perfect. Go right ahead.
Oh, because I didn't see the thing.
Well, we can see you, we can hear you, and your beautiful smile is a warm, a warm blanket for us. So good to see you.
All right. Okay. I'm in bed, forgive me. Well, good night, everyone, and thank you for taking my comment. I actually wanted to respond to the question that was posed earlier, but Mr. Wright, he addressed it. But I just want to add that what I notice about people is that they have this slavish mentality. They don't understand that the UIC is about governance by the people. Governance by the people. We're so accustomed to having politicians telling us what to do, how to do it, and nothing gets done. Because I remember, Mr. Patterson, in one of your presentations, I listened to you, and you were talking about Kingston in the 70s. When you were born, I was living in Kingston.
Wow.
I was 10 years old, all right? And I remember I lived in East Kingston, and I remember how beautiful Outlook Avenue was. I remember the Joyce buses, which Jamaica is still paying for, but that's a different story. What I'm saying is that over the years, under these political, I don't know what to call them, we have experienced deterioration on top of deterioration, and the country has not gotten better. And people are voting for these guys every 3, 4, or 5 years. People want to be told, they like to be told what to do. They like to be made promises. They like to hear that, oh, I'm going to do this for you. They don't want to do anything for themselves. You know, it is said that humans have an aversion to change, right? And it's true. But the UIC is not about that. The UIC is putting the work in your hands. They're making you independent. You're giving them that level of independence. They say, here, take the baton, take the ball. This is the blueprint. Run with it. Amen. Do it. It can be done. You have shown us the way. And I can't emphasize it enough. When I first heard your video, the one video I heard, I resonated so much with all the points that you have made. And I know that you have opened our eyes, because all the things that you have in your plan are things that Jamaica needs. I dare say have a dire need for, okay? But we have to understand it. We have to get to the place where we wake up, open our blooming eyes, and see what's happening around us, see the world crumbling, see Jamaica falling apart, and realize that we can't take this anymore. We have to come out of this squalor that we have been placed in by these, whatchamacallits.
Yeah,
all right. And let me also add that I know it takes money. The problem is the UIC is not getting enough money. I know your policy, you don't want to, big donations because you don't want to be controlled. And I get that. I understand it. And I respect that. That is why we, the people, should make a greater effort to share the message, push the word, because this is our party. This is what we're going to do. We are going to do this. Absolutely. We are going to do it. We can do it. We have all the tools with which to work. So there shouldn't be a problem. But because we're greedy, because we're stupid, because we're lazy, we want everything done for us. I think it was Julius Nyerere who said, when I was a little girl, I heard him say it first. I don't know if anybody else has said it. He said that It's not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. What can you do for Jamaica? You, Mr. Patterson, you have given us the wherewithal with which to work. No, what am I doing for my country? What is the next man doing for his country? Chewing his mouth and say, "Boy, I can't do not better because no, come on." Remember when they change, forgive me if I'm going too long. When they changed dollars to cents, all right, it didn't take a lot. I don't know what it took, but there was no backlash, political backlash. I remember I was a little girl. They changed over from pounds to dollars and cents.
Yeah.
I think it was in 68, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And I didn't see anything going on like a political anything. People complain, Mr. Patterson, and this is what we need to get to people again. People complain that we need to get rid of the Queen. I've always heard that in Jamaica, but they don't understand. When I share UIC's message with people, and some of them would say, "Oh, that is the man who wants to get Jamaica into republic." Hello, if you want to get rid of the Queen, guess what? People always complain about wanting to get rid of the scepter and the Governor General. Hello, this is a natural course of action. You have to become a republic in order to get rid of a prime minister. This is how it works, and people don't seem to understand that. So we have to educate people. We have to, we have to get more serious, become more resolute, and go out and share the word and help them to understand that this is the course of action we need to take for Jamaica to get to the place where it needs to be. And anybody, you hear they talk about karma, anybody who tries to belittle the work of the UIC or to prevent the work of the UIC, remember what the UIC stands for. UIC is about good governance. The UIC is about giving you healthcare, giving you good education, giving you garbage cleanup, giving you land, houses, and all of that. UIC is making a good future, for a stable future for our children, a future which we can be proud of. If you belittle the UIC, if you come against them and take that away, guess what you're doing? You're taking it away from the children. You are depriving the children of their natural human divine rights given by God. Okay, so when you do that, karma is going to come back and bite you in the you-know-where.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ms. Bisley.
Those are my few words. I love you, Mr. Patterson. I love Mrs. Patterson. She knows my story. All right. And I love the work that you have done. Believe me, I love it. I love it. I love it. This is for Jamaica. This is my country. I was born there. And I'm sure all of us on the line share the same sentiments. This is our Jamaica, and we're going to fight for it. I am too old, but guess what? I can still fight.
No, you're not too old, because you're making more of a difference than some young people right now. You have been contributing, you have been donating, you have been spreading the word. So you have joined, you have volunteered, and you have donated. If 1,000 of us did that, 1,000 did what you do, the UIC would be in an even better position right now. So keep up the good work. Thank you. Mr. Chase Neal, your turn, sir. Thank you, Ms. Wesley.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Patterson. I just wanted to respond to two questions. One on YouTube from Patrick Duffus, if he can just walk into NCB and make a donation. Marlene,
A little louder, please. A little louder. Can you speak a bit louder?
Okay, all right, sorry. So Patrick Duffus on YouTube is asking whether anyone can walk into NCB and make a donation to UIC. And there is a question in the chat from Marlene whether, with all the scandals rocking NCB, if it's safe to do business with them. So I'd like to respond to those. Firstly, Sir Duffus, we do not yet have the account from NCB, although it does seem likely that you will get it. We have been here before where banks have told us that they're giving us the account, and then when we go to sign up, it's a different story. But we do hope and trust that NCB keeps word, and if that is so, then you will be able to walk into NCB and make a donation, but also you will be able to make a donation digitally because NCB facilitates that. As for the question from Marlene, as whether it's smart to engage with NCB. This is the only bank in a long time that has given us the go-ahead. So that's the option we have now. So that's my response to those
Thank
questions.
you. Thank you, Mr. Neal. Ms. Chakanowski, you have another question or comment?
Yes, from YouTube, sir. Someone wants to find out if the UIC needs you in the future. Would you come back and run for the presidency?
It's hard to tell at this stage. So when we get to that bridge, we cross it. Right now, my commitment is to advising the UIC leadership and to repairing our life at the moment. But we'll see in the future. Mr. Romans, your hand is up, but before you speak, could I ask the other members of the NEC please to take a look in the various forums, and each of you at least bring on 1 or 2 questions. There are many questions popping in, so if some of you take 1 or 2, it will help us all to cover them. Go, Mr. Romans.
Yes. Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I just want to make an appeal to maybe the 20 people or 22 people on the live right now to make a comment from their heart, just like Miss Beasley just did, and what they think, because sometimes that silence can say a lot. And I know that we all came to the UIC somehow. I'd like each of them to honestly look at themselves and look in their heart and just make a statement. Just make a statement.
Thank you. Definitely. And by the way,
I personally believe that this is an opportunity for the UIC to take a big leap forward, because many people figure out, oh man, Mr. Patterson, he's to this or he's to that, and him being the head, that's what keeping back the organization. Now that they have a new leadership, I think, and I truly believe this is going to create a big leap for the UIC. I truly believe that. And that's my opinion on that. But I would really appeal to the...
Mr. President.
Yes, just a second, Mr. Wright. We had Mr. Abena Adams hand up for a while. Mr. or Miss Abena Adams.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Miss Adams.
Thank you. So I am curious to see how this process unfolds, but I have confidence. My only concern right now is I'd seen like a report earlier this week just got started, but there was a situation where I heard a recording and it doesn't seem to put NCB Bank in a positive light based on some happenings in the background. And so I'm kind of concerned about that, but I also understand that currently that's the only thing that's available to you. Is there any way that, or anything you can do to kind of ensure that your funds will remain in the bank, in your account, and doesn't, disappear?
Mm-hmm. Good question. No, we don't know yet if we're going to get NCB. I hope tomorrow, when Chase Neal and Winston Wright and Naika Williams go to the bank tomorrow, everything goes through and the sign-off goes well, and we have the account. After that, of course, we will monitor the account to make sure, when I say we, I mean the new leadership. I won't be there, but I'm sure that the president, the chairman, and the treasurer, the finance committee, led by Ms. Lisa Abdul, will pay attention to the account and monitor developments to make sure that the funds are secure. In the meanwhile, we are obviously going to look at other banks as well. So hopefully we'll hear from soon that we have another bank that's also in the mix to help us out. But good question. Thank you very much. Mr. Wright, go ahead, please. You're muted. You're muted. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, everyone. In the past, Mr. President, there has been great lamentation as to your leadership style by persons who wish to detract from the great work of the movement and the excellent leadership that you have provided, the mentorship and guidance that you have provided to young persons coming into the movement and even seasoned professionals like myself. to give us an alternative perspective and help us develop in this new arena. Now I'm looking and listening, and I'm hearing persons saying, why are you leaving? The UIC will fall apart. But then they forget that it was a few weeks ago, a few months ago, they were demanding that you leave the UIC. And I find that confusing. And I'll say that my brothers and sisters need to get an awakening. And it starts with this acknowledgement that the president of this noble movement has decided to transition his life into a new area to put focus on personal priorities that he has neglected for well over 10 years for this great movement. And in doing so, we should wish our president and the First Lady and his family the best from our hearts, regardless of how advent a follower or supporter or donor we were. Now that the movement is transitioning, as one person pointed out, it is a pivotal moment. And this pivotal moment is simply this. It is the point in the UIC's history when we as Jamaicans will get to stand up and be counted as the change makers, as the persons who drove this vision across the finish line. And how can we do that? Our linchpin is leaving, but the movement is not left empty-handed. He's standing in the shadows with arms open, holding us up. And as each talent come on board, he releases a little weight. And eventually his hands will be free to clap and cheer his movement as we move forward. Instead of the negative, my brothers and sisters, let us understand our place, understand that our desire cannot only be a wish, but it has to be a thought that transforms to action. And that action is what will take us home. So I'm asking you in the comment section, I'm asking you who's listening and who will listen later on, to know that the UIC is here for you, a government system designed for you, a government to work for you. And you're required to do 3 things to make this work. Attend your meetings, volunteer, share your talent if you have it or there's a need for it. And when you can, even though we understand the economic straits, share your treasure if and when you can. And this noble movement that is yours, that was gifted to you by our president, will take us to the place we must be. Not the place we wish to be, not the place we dream of being, but the place we must be if our kids, my 3 kids, and your kids, your grandkids, are to survive this great Holocaust. So the charge is on you, my brothers. The charge is on me, and it is on the fellow NEC members to take the vision of our president and make it a reality.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wright. Much appreciated. I saw a question posted by, I think, Mrs. Patterson. It's kind of sliding off the screen now. A question as to why are you moving away from Jamaica? Why now? No, we're not moving away from Jamaica at all. This is our home. We're well planted like a tree in St. Elizabeth here. So we'll be here farming away. We have our greenhouse to finish, which has been languishing for about 2.5 years now, Mrs. P, or more. Just languishing, can't get finished because we can't get to it. We have our beehives. We've lost about 75 hives because of neglect on my part that I need to recover. That's it's about $35,000 for each hive. So we have a lot of work to do. So we'll be right here.
Mr. President,
yes.
Before you take another question,
Yeah.
I seek your permission to comment on your greenhouse.
Sure, go ahead.
I came to your farm when that greenhouse was just about to be put up. Prep work alone, from my knowledge, would have cost you in excess of $200,000. Greenhouse alone is somewhere in the region, based on the size I saw, was in the region of about $2 million. And I saw it go up. That doesn't include the labor that it would have cost, which is specialized labor, to put that up. I don't know what that would be. And that greenhouse has sat there for someone who is an avid farmer for well over 2 years. And the last time I was there, which was 2 months ago for an event, I looked at the greenhouse and realized that it had started deteriorating. 1 grain ever been planted in there. So all that money that you have invested in that greenhouse has gone to naught. So persons need to understand when you say you have neglected your business, they need to understand what you truly mean. And they would not, because they have not been in the UIC fray, to see it and see you let your own personal fortunes dwindle for our sake.
Yeah, it has been a real pain actually. But we shall recover, Mrs. P. She'll whip me into shape. But anyways, we keep going. Any other questions, Ms. Chakanowski, or comments? And by the way, please, folks here on the Zoom platform, take up Mr. Romans on his offer to open your mic and even give us 1 minute of your thought. Mr. Romans, I'm going to limit it to 1 minute because it might take us all night. So 1 minute, no more Miss Besley speeches, just a short summary version, please. Go ahead, Ms. Chakanowski, and then we take some comments here.
Someone wants to find out when will there be a live with the new leadership?
Oh, shortly. I mean, very shortly. I mean, this is after tonight, you're going to have all kind of different things happening. Lives galore from Mr. Wright, Mr. Neal, Dr. Coretta, Ms. Williams, Ms. Powell. You're going to have lives coming out your ears. So we'll see more of those. All right. Any other questions or comments? Anyone from the floor here on the Zoom platform want to open your mic and give us a 1 minute piece of your mind, positive or negative, constructive or otherwise?
Mrs. Patterson has her hand up.
Oh, go ahead, Mrs. Fee.
There's a question on YouTube where they're asking if you get the necessary money, will you change your mind?
Oh, if I get, well, I mean, obviously, if somebody pays for all of your problems, then it's easy for you to, to fix them. What I'd love to see, to be honest with you, is 1,000 persons committing to giving $25 a month to the UIC right now. 1,000 persons giving $25 a month to the UIC to allow us to be able to organize and get things going the way they need to go. And that's just 1,000. That's less than 1%, much less than 1% of the diaspora. 1,000 persons. And I can't believe, I'm shocked actually. I must tell you, I'm shocked. I cannot believe that we have not been able to reach the mark yet, Mr. Romans, of 1,000 persons committing to giving $25 every month. That's all. $25, 1,000 persons every month giving 25. I give much more than that every month. And other members here on the UIC give much more than that every month in terms of taking away time from their livelihood, from their earnings, from their family. And so if you're sitting there, for example, you're in the US, you're in Canada, you're in the UK, and you're not involved in volunteering and doing a lot of work for the UIC, and you just say, okay, I'm going to put aside $25 a month and dedicate that to the UIC. And we have 1,000 such persons. Just imagine the kind of work we'll be able to do on the ground here in Jamaica that we can't do now. We can't hire staff properly to help us with the work. We cannot run an organization without a core set of full-time staff, people who are coming to work daily. Right now, we have Mr. Wright, he goes to his regular job and then find time to do some UIC work. Mr. Neal goes to his regular job or 2 or 3 because he seems to have a whole heap of things going, and then find time for the UIC. Then you have Miss Coretta, she goes to do her thing, then she tries to find time, and that's all. We only have one person working full-time on the paid for the UIC, and that's Miss Williams, 22-year-old who has given a lot of her time and talent and energy to help to build this movement. And she's the only person. We can't afford anybody else. Oh, we just hired a web designer just a couple of weeks ago, part-time, of course, to help us out. But just imagine if you gave us $25 every month and allow us to be able to know that it's coming, we can plan it and we can use it properly. And I'm saying we, but I'm not going to be there anymore to do that. That's going to be Mr. Wright and team. But they still need it. Just the way I needed it, Mr. Wright and team is going to need it now. And as we come closer to election, we need more than that. But at least get us to 1,000 person, giving $25 so we can get the job done. Ms. Garib, you want to say something? You're muted if you are.
I recently got a chance. Good night, everybody. It's a pleasure to be in this forum. I've met the president and his wife quite a few, what was it, almost a year ago. And I've worked alongside them in the background, if you know what I mean. And I just want to take this opportunity to say that it was very teary for me when I saw that message came in that you'll be stepping down. But I just want to take this opportunity to wish both of you all the best. I think you've done a marvelous job based on what I've seen over the past few months. And I just want you to continue being healthy, being super in love as you are, and the family person that you are, and just all the best from my family to yours.
Thank you very much, Ms. Garb, and we won't forget your generous donation last year, and we hope you'll do it again some other time. Thank you so much.
Definitely.
All right, Mr. Delton, hand up, go ahead.
Mr. President and members, an honest opinion, sir.
Yes.
I think one of the reasons why you struggled to get the 1,000 people to donate is to do with the bank, sir. I really do. And I'm going to hold up my hand to say I am one of those, right? You need to have that. I know you guys have tried your best, but you got to persevere, and I'm sure you are, because I think that is a big, big, big stumbling block.
Well, Mr. Delton, it shouldn't be a stumbling block, you know, because if the people listen to me carefully, and I've been saying this now for at least 7 out of the 10 years, if the people listen to me carefully, they'll understand the plan to defeat us. There's some basic plans. Plan number 1, don't give them a bank account. Okay, if you don't give them one, it is going to cause people to be skeptical. So if we know that that's a part of the enemy's plan, just like how me put myself on the line, regardless of that challenge, and help the UIC, and other people do the same thing, all of us can do it. Miss Besley donates. Miss Williams donate. Miss Annalisa donates. Mr. O'Shane donates. Mr. Harvey. Everybody is still, many of these people here are still donating, even though we don't have the perfect banking solution, because we have to overcome the enemy strategy. That's one. Secondly, the media blockade. Even though they block us on the media, we still have to use word of mouth on our own social media platform and push the message so that we know the enemy do that and we do this to counter it. We have to keep doing, we can't let the enemy strategy stop us. We have to circumvent the enemy strategy. So when they block us from the bank, let us find different ways to get money to the movement and get the movement going. The slaves who formed the Underground Railroad, they couldn't follow the normal road. If they followed the normal road, none of them wouldn't escape. So they had to find a back road, a hidden road. So we have to find back roads and hidden roads and side roads to get the job done and not allow anything, any stumbling block that they put in front of us to stop us. That even means if they take one of us down, 10 of us must rise up. If they move one president, one more must come. We must not allow anything to get in the way of us solving the problem of funding and building this movement to take control of our country. Next one, anyone?
If I may, Mr. President.
Sorry?
If I may?
Yes.
Mr. Delton mentioned the bank account. But here's what persons have missed, and I see people in the chat talking about bank account. Let's start by looking externally. Have they asked the other 2 colonial parties about their banking situation? Because a week ago, the PNP will be summoned to court to answer to a matter of campaign finance irregularities, which is related to company overseas who in their country they are prohibited from funding political parties. And that problem comes because the PNP didn't have a bank account to put the money in. So an officer of the party held the money in his account. I don't know if that situation has been remedied. But we did know that their excuse is that the PNP didn't have a bank account. So all the persons who are talking about the UIC banking arrangement, have they asked the other parties, functional, non-certified, movements, whatever they're called, have they asked them about their banking situation? But here's what they missed. UIC account, while the bank book, while the banking account was donated, that bank account was used solely for UIC funds. There was no commingling of personal funds with UIC funds. Also, as part of the party's certification, which we have held since 2019, our books, including a reconciliation of the bank balance and the resulting transaction, has to be done, certified, and then submitted by us under the signature and stamp of the auditor and the UIC to the regulators that we have no sway over, and that body is made up of the two colonial parties and their functionaries. So if the UIC had banking irregularities, they would have been the first to be knocking on our doors with the fraud squad and the police to lock down the UIC and drag us all to court to answer charges over financial irregularities. So the persons in the chat here and there who have fallen victim to the slander that the president has chosen to ignore must now feel stupid, but we won't hold that against you. We will ask you to choose who you believe, and that is why the UIC educates people. We want you to be knowledgeable enough, to be discerning enough to understand when information is presented to you, how to be critical in analyzing that information. So the UIC has functioned appropriately and has been certified every year since 2019 for having accounts which are up to date. Our books are above board thanks to the president and the treasurers that we have had, because they have been professionals and been meticulous in their duty. So again, donating should never have been a problem. But I understand that for many it was an excuse, and for a few it was a crutch. So now that you know the truth about both instances, us using a donated account and now us having a commercial account, what will you do? As a matter of fact, I'll go further and say that UIC also has a PC bank account. So if you want, we can direct you to that PC bank and you stand in line because it's a community bank and do your donation just the same. We'll be very grateful. So what's your excuse for not wanting to move Jamaica forward now? Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Wright. Dr. Creto, Madam Chair.
Yes, thank you. I still say Mr. President until the call ends. Good night, everyone. I just want to take the opportunity to say thank you. I want to reiterate what Ms. Garib and many others have said, to say thank you, Mr. President, Mr. Patterson. Thank you, Mrs. Patterson. Because sometimes I don't think we understand that 10 years of grueling work takes its toll. That's one. And two, sometimes it takes 10 years to see something turn the corner after hatching away at it. So I invite us all again, and I invite Jamaica to accept the gift of the UIC, the gift of what it means, the gift of the work that has been put in, the blood, the sweat, the tears, the sacrifice. Take the gift and multiply it, because as I'm sitting here, it has not been an easy week to hear, you know, you're running this race and then you hear, so the person on the, you know, on the team, whether it is they have an injury or something, they got to come out the race, but we have to finish the race because there are goals, there are things to do. So that's my admonition. Accept the gift, because it's the thing that can change Jamaica's trajectory and the future. It's a vessel that has been built, constructed, given birth to, has birthed different processes and people. And so we continue on. So that's my statement. That's my sharing tonight, because it's still rough. We're still, you know, we're imbibing it, we're assimilating it, and we're moving through it. But in doing all of that, gratitude. Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Patterson, and we wish you well. I wish you well.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Sorry I missed a bit of your speech because my connection went down for a bit, but I can feel it still. Thank you so very much. We have now come to the end of our discourse tonight. It's now 2 minutes after 9 here in Jamaica. I want to thank each and every one of you for being on here tonight. Those of you on the Zoom platform, on the YouTube platform, and on other platforms, Facebook and so on. I want to thank you all. It has been my pleasure and pain working as your president for the last 10 years. I've learned a lot from you. I've gained a lot from this experience, and I'm looking forward to the UIC going on to conquer the world, making sure that Jamaica becomes the first real true republic. And I hope to be there alive and well on stage with you when we're elected to our first government. So thanks again, and have a good night until we meet again. Take care. Bye-bye. One Jamaica.
Before you go, Mr. Patterson, Howard Mackenzie has his hand up. You may have missed it.
I did miss Mr. Mackenzie. Mr. Harold Mackenzie, we are out of time, but I'll give you 1 minute to quickly say something. Sorry. Mr. Mackenzie? All right, he's not able to come on. So yes, again, everyone, thank you. It's 3 minutes after 9. Have a good night. Take care and all the best. Bye-bye.
Oh.
His mic is open now. Go ahead, Mr. Harold. 1 minute, he says.
Yes. I apologize for turning up a bit late. But yes, I had a little problem with my grandkids, and knowing I've only been here for a short time, I have to spend all the time with them. Yes. Unfortunately, when I saw the message this morning, or the mail stating that the leader or the founder of the party is stepping down, it does break my heart. But I would like to ask, what is the reason? Because I haven't heard the full reason why the leader is stepping down.
Okay, Mr. Mackenzie, I'm so sorry that you're late, but we have gone through that for the last 1.5 hours or so. And so you're gonna have to watch this video later to get it, all right? So thank you very much for being here.
And you couldn't quickly say it.
No, I can't.
Say the reason.
No, it would not be justice to you to hear me give a quick short answer before we go off screen, nor would it be fair to all the others who have suffered with me this long. So thank you so much for coming. Please watch the video, and please know that we have a new president now. His name is Mr. Winston Wright. Just wave your hand, Mr. Wright, and he'll be able to answer all of your questions going forward together with the team. And we look forward to seeing the next 10 years of the UIC. Thank you all very much. Good night.
It's not just 10 years, I'll be here for the rest of my life, and I've dropped all the people that I know, especially some of the people in the diaspora that came to Jamaica and have to disappear to Florida and different places in the world.
Yes.
And this is how I know the UIC will benefit our people fully.
Absolutely.
But yes,
thank you very much.
I'll let you go for now. But yes, I'll be with you for life.
All the best. Take care.
And thanks for starting this party. It's a beautiful move.
My pleasure. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, guys. Have a good night.
Have a good night, everyone.
Take care.
Very
Good night.
soon.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night, my president. Madam First Lady.
Good night.
Good night.